The late afternoon sun dipped behind the old highway bridge as Narissa Vale, a timid 17-year-old girl, stood near the abandoned bus stop with her backpack clutched tightly to her chest. Her red eyes and trembling fingers said enough. She had been crying for a long time. Cars whooshed past without stopping. No one cared enough to look her way. But someone did stop. Just not the type of person anyone would hope for. A monstrous motorcycle rumbled into the empty stop. Its chrome gleamed like a blade. Flames were painted on the tank, and a skull emblem sat boldly on the leather jacket of the man riding it. He was Brim Ravager, a member of the Hells Angels, known for his explosive temper, fierce loyalty, and a past full of violence no one dared question. Narissa flinched backward immediately. Brim removed his helmet slowly, revealing a head of tangled charcoal hair and eyes that burned like storm clouds ready to break. His presence swallowed the entire space, and Narissa felt small, too small. "What's in the bag?" he asked, voice deep and rough like gravel dragged across metal. Narissa hugged the bag tighter, stepping back till her shoulder hit the rusting bus post. "Cece can't," she whispered. "Hand it over." He extended his tattooed arm. She shook her head violently, tears spilling again. Brim frowned, his jaw tightening. He wasn't used to people refusing him, especially not terrified little girls on deserted highways. "Kid," I said, "give me the bag." "No," she cried, clutching it like her life depended on it. Brim took a step forward. The gravel crunched under his boots. Narissa's breath caught. He reached for the strap. She screamed, "Please, I can't let go of it." Brim froze. That wasn't fear of losing something material. It was the cry of someone holding on to their last piece of meaning. His expression softened, barely, but enough to show a crack in his hardened exterior. "What's inside?" he asked again, but quieter this time. Narissa pressed the bag to her chest. Her lips trembled. Her voice cracked. "My whole world, a road full of shadows." Brim took a slow breath. He didn't sign up for this emotional mess when he stopped to help a stranded girl. He planned to ask if she needed a ride or a phone, not be dragged into a meltdown. Yet something in her tear-streaked face pulled at him. "You alone out here?" he asked gruffly. She nodded. "Where are you headed?" She shrugged. "Anywhere." That answer stabbed Brim in a place he didn't like to acknowledge he still had. He studied her face, frail, young, exhausted. "Nobody's coming for you, are they?" Her silence was answer enough. Brim exhaled through his teeth. "Look, I ain't here to rob you. I'm not taking your stuff. Just making sure you ain't about to do something stupid." Narissa's grip loosened, just a bit. He continued, softer than he intended. "What are you running from, kid?" Narissa wiped her cheeks. "My uncle," she whispered, "and the people who took my little brother." Brim's spine stiffened. Her voice cracked again. "They have him, and they told me to bring this bag to them at the old train tracks by sunset. If I don't, they'll hurt him." Brim blinked. This wasn't what he expected. "Why you?" he asked. "Because they think I'm weak," Narissa whispered. "Easy to scare. Easy to control." Brim's jaw clenched. The wind blew sharply across the abandoned stop, as if the world itself shivered with her. He looked at the bag again, the way she held it, the way she shook when someone tried to take it. "What's in there?" he asked once more. Narissa didn't speak. She just slowly unzipped the top, and Brim glimpsed something that made him inhale sharply. But she zipped it shut immediately. "You can't tell anyone," she whispered. "Please, I don't know who to trust." Brim wasn't easily shocked. But what he saw wasn't something a girl should be carrying alone. "Kid, why didn't you go to the cops?" "They're part of it," she whispered. "Everyone's part of it." Brim cursed under his breath. This was bigger than a runaway teen. Bigger than a kidnapped sibling. Bigger than a biker stopping to help. And suddenly he understood why she held the bag like a lifeline. It was a lifeline. "So," Brim said, cracking his knuckles, "you're going to meet the people who took your brother? Alone?" She nodded helplessly. "And you were just planning to hand that over to them?" Tears streamed down her cheeks. "What choice do I have? They'll kill him." Brim stared at her, something boiling in his chest. He wasn't a saint. Never had been. He'd broken laws, bones, and a few hearts. But hurting a child? Manipulating a helpless girl? That crossed a line even Hell's Angels didn't touch. Kid, he said firmly, you're not going alone. Nerissa looked up, eyes wide. You'll help me? Brim didn't answer. He simply pulled his helmet back on and held out his gloved hand. Get on the bike. An unlikely guardian. Nerissa hesitated. She had never ridden on a motorcycle before, especially not with someone who looked like death on two wheels. But something in Brim's stance, grounded, unshakable, made her feel a type of safety she hadn't felt in a long time. She held her bag tightly and climbed behind him. Brim revved the engine. Hold on, he growled. She wrapped one arm around him and clutched her bag with the other. The bike shot forward, roaring down the abandoned road, carrying a runaway girl and a battle-scarred biker toward a place neither of them knew how to face. But destiny had already decided for them. They were not just riding to save her brother. They were riding straight into the truth. A truth that would break them apart, bind them together, and change everything they thought they knew about fear, loyalty, and family. Brim didn't know it yet, but the contents of that little torn backpack would soon make him scream. Ravager's motorcycle thundered down the highway like a black comet ripping through the evening air. Behind him, Nerissa Vale clung tight with one arm, the other wrapped protectively around her worn, faded backpack, the one thing she refused to let go of. Brim didn't speak. He just drove, the wind whipping past them as an orange sun bled into shadows. But his mind was a storm. He kept seeing that brief flash he saw inside the girl's bag, a glimmer of cold metal, a shape he recognized too well. It wasn't money. It wasn't drugs. It wasn't anything a teenage runaway should be involved in. It was something people kill for. Something people die for. And now, a scared girl was carrying it toward the very monsters who stole her brother. Brim revved harder, anger burning in his blood. He'd seen darkness all his life, fights in alleys, club wars, drug runners, dirty cops. But this? Using a girl as a mule to exchange something this dangerous? That hit a part of him he thought had died years ago. A protective part. A loyal part. A part that remembered being powerless once, too. The abandoned train tracks. The bike skidded to a stop on the gravel road, leading toward the tracks. The place looked like a graveyard for machines, rusted cars, decaying freight wagons, broken lights flickering weakly. Ahead, tucked between the shadows, a group of 6 men waited. They weren't teenagers. They weren't bluffing. These were hardened adults, men who moved with the dead-eyed casualness of criminals used to violence. One of them stepped forward. A tall man with a liver-spotted face, a cruel grin, and small, calculating eyes. His name was Derek Vale, Nerissa's uncle. Look at that, Derek chuckled. Little Nessie actually made it. And with a biker escort? How adorable. Nerissa froze behind Brim. Brim's jaw tightened. You the uncle? Family's family, Derek said with a shrug. What can I say? I'm a sentimental man. Brim snorted. Sure you are. Derek's eyes narrowed, but he stayed calm, hands behind his back. Did you bring it? Derek asked, glancing at the bag. Nerissa's fingers dug into the strap. Brim stepped slightly in front of her, a protective gesture that did not go unnoticed. Oh, Derek laughed, delighted. So, the Hell's Angel is playing daddy now? The other men chuckled. Brim didn't. Where's her brother? Brim asked coldly. Derek snapped his fingers. 2 of the men dragged out a small boy, thin, dirty, terrified. Arlo, Nerissa's 12-year-old brother. When Nerissa saw him, she dropped the bike helmet she'd been holding and rushed forward. But Brim grabbed her arm gently but firmly. Wait, he murmured. Not yet. Derek laughed. Cute. The biker's thinking he's in charge. Bring me the bag, little Nessie, and maybe your brother here gets to breathe another day. Nerissa trembled. Her grip on the bag tightened until her knuckles turned ghost white. Brim, she whispered, voice tiny and breaking. They'll kill him. Brim lowered his voice. Trust me. She looked up at him, searching, hoping, doubting. Do you? Brim asked. Her lips parted slowly. Yes. It was the first choice she had made freely in days. The bag opens. Brim stepped forward, holding out his hand. Give me the bag. Nerissa hesitated only a second before placing it in his grip. Derek smirked. Smart girl. Now hand it over, biker boy. Brim crouched down and slowly unzipped the bag. Nerissa looked away. It hurt her even to let someone else touch it. The criminals leaned forward. They wanted to see it again. Wanted to confirm that the girl had carried the real deal. The train yard fell silent. Brim lifted the object inside, a small silver hard drive, thick, industrial, with warning labels scratched off. Derek clapped sarcastically. Bravo. Hell's Angels biker doing delivery service now? What's next, you gonna join Uber? Brim ignored him. What is this? He asked, though he already guessed. Insurance, Derek said proudly. This little chip contains files. Files that will make very important people very unhappy if released. So we sell it to someone else. Blackmail, blackmail, blackmail. It pays the bills. Brim held the drive between his fingers, turning it over. And you kidnapped a kid to get it. Kids make excellent leverage, Derek said lightly. Besides, this one, he nodded at Nerissa, was the perfect donkey. Timid, obedient, easily threatened. And nobody would suspect a sweet little girl. Brim felt heat crawl up his neck. You used her, he said quietly. Derek shrugged. Oh, please. Let's not pretend you care. Just hand it over like a good dog and… Brim suddenly threw the drive to the ground. It smashed into pieces. Nerissa gasped. Arlo screamed. Derek froze. His men stiffened. Then, Derek's voice exploded. You stupid. He rushed forward, but Brim was faster. With a punch so heavy it echoed, Brim slammed Derek to the ground. Chaos erupted. A battle for kindness. Two men lunged at Brim. He swung the motorcycle chain from his belt and cracked it against one man's jaw. The other rushed him with a knife, but Brim kicked him in the chest so hard he flew back into the gravel. Nerissa grabbed Arlo and dragged him behind an overturned crate. Stay low, she whisper-yelled. Arlo clung to her. Ness, what's happening? She forced a brave smile. Someone finally decided to help us. Across the yard, the fight grew brutal. Brim wasn't fighting for dominance. Not for reputation. Not for the club. Not for pride. He fought because someone should. Someone needed to. Someone had to show a girl who had never been protected what real protection looked like. Derek stumbled up with a broken nose, blood gushing. You're dead, he roared. You hear me? Dead. He charged with a metal pipe. Brim caught it mid-swing and twisted Derek's arm until the pipe clattered away. You hurt kids. Brim growled. You threaten family? You make little girls cry? You're scum. He slammed Derek down again. The remaining men, seeing their leader broken and their plan ruined, scattered into the night like rats. Brim didn't chase. He just stood there, chest heaving. Slowly, Nerissa emerged with Arlo. She ran to her brother, hugging him so tightly she nearly knocked him over. Arlo sobbed into her shoulder. I knew you'd come. She cried harder, whispering, I'll always come. Brim turned away, giving them privacy. His knuckles bled. His jaw throbbed. His ribs screamed. But for the first time in many years, his heart felt quiet, peaceful, human. Why? Brim screamed. Nerissa walked toward him slowly, holding the broken remains of the hard drive. They made me carry it, she whispered. Every day. Everywhere. So I wouldn't run. Brim nodded. But then she added something that made him stiffen. They also made me hide something else inside the bag. Brim frowned. What? She unzipped the secret in her pocket and pulled out a small, blue, velvet pouch. Brim's stomach twisted. He knew that pouch. Every biker knew that pouch. It contained an international trafficking ledger, a list of names, routes, and dirty officials who paid criminals like Derek. Brim had seen one years ago. It haunted him still. And suddenly Brim screamed. Not in fear. Not in pain. But in rage. A roar ripped out of him like a wounded beast. one that had finally found the hunter who destroyed its pack. Nerissa jumped back. Brim snarled. These files, these names, this list. If this got out, people would kill to control it. Derek hadn't just been blackmailing officials. He had been selling human lives. Brim slammed his fist into the train wagon so hard it dented.